My name is Kia and welcome to this Domestika Live. I'm super excited to be here to show you how to make some amazing chocolate textures. I am one of the founders of Brik Chocolate, and Brik is a chocolate company doing chocolate textures. So we're inspired by different architectural surfaces like concrete, as you can see here, different marbles, terrazzo, and yeah, basically everything that we find interesting here that we can make into chocolates. So charred wood, pleats, anything really that we find interesting. And I'm here to show you, like, spill some beans on some of these wonderful textures. I'm doing it a little bit Christmassy for you guys because it is the 22nd of December. But first I'll just start telling you a little bit about me and how I started making chocolates. I am originally a goldsmith, so doing jewelry. Started moving more into design, studied at the Royal College of Art in London. I'm based in London and I am from Denmark. I'm from architecture family, so we like the whole architectural surface. How can you say fascination comes quite naturally to me. And I've moved it into chocolate. So I'm quite material based, or like I'm interested in materials, and working with chocolate and working with something that you can eat has kind of just added an extra layer to this whole design process. And designing something, because now I can also design flavors and along with something that looks good. So I'm designing like layered flavors that changes when you eat them, you know, so you kind of start with some flavor and then another flavor comes through after 5-7 seconds, stuff like that, which is really, really fun. And today I am going to show you a few different textures. I'm going to show you a terrazzo texture. That is one of our tiles that we call them chocolate tiles because they look like tiles. So one of our tiles are a terrazzo tile. We have a marble tile and we have a concrete tile. I'm going to show you the terrazzo and the marbling. So I just put down some of the examples here that I'm going to be showing you today. So here is our terrazzo tile. They are all made from the same chocolate. We'll be using a caramel chocolate today. This is a terrazzo salted caramel with passion fruit chips. So actually, when we are designing a piece of chocolate like this with the chips in and a base chocolate, you will first get the flavor of the caramel, the salted caramel chocolate, and then you'll 5 to 7 seconds in, and we've actually like counted, we've measured the timing, you'll start tasting the acidic like kick from the passion fruit. So it's quite a beautiful flavor. Also, I just want to explain that all the flavors all the colors we're doing are natural. So even though we have quite a bright blue and a bright yellow, all flavors and all naturals, all colors we're doing are natural. So the blue is from blue spirulina, yellow is from lemon peel. So we don't use anything artificial. The other thing I'll be showing you is this. Also, the shape is not in a tile shape. It's obviously because it's on the 22nd. So I thought maybe do a little Christmassy theme just before the holidays. So I've been doing a little bauble that you can hang on the tree. And this one is a marble bauble. I don't know if I can get it close enough for you to see the detail of this. It is made from caramel, again, flavored with sea buckthorn and reishi mushrooms, and colored with charcoal. And the reishi mushrooms, so this is these are both superfoods. Sea buckthorn is a Nordic fruit or little berry. It's a little orange berry that's packed with antioxidants. And reishi mushrooms is also superfood full of antioxidants. And this kind of have a taste of caramel cappuccino. So the reishi mushroom is a little bit bitter, but it doesn't taste like mushrooms at all. They're both very beautiful flavors. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that. I know that some of you are making along with me, and I've have done a little demonstration prior to this of how to make a mold that you can make yourself. I have made my own molds for this, but I have a little vacuum former so I can make my own molds. I will be casting in these ones, but you can make your own mold quite easily at home. Not so easily making the round ones, but you can make the square ones quite easily at home using Legos. So if you just going to put these to the side, you can just build a little Lego mold, put a piece of parchment paper underneath it, and voila, you have a mold. And you can obviously build it exactly the shape that you want. Wash them before that you start using them. It's just always a good idea. Another easy way, if you don't have Legos, is just to find an old cereal box. This is some of our chocolate packaging, and I've just cut the top off and put tape around it. Then you'll line it with baking paper, and then you'll have a perfect mold for that as well. So you can kind of work with me at home and make your own molds really, really easily. So first things first, I will teach you how to do the terrazzo chocolate first. Before we can do anything chocolate, we need to talk about tempering chocolate. For you who does not know what tempering chocolate is, you probably come across an untempered chocolate bar in your life when you've picked up a chocolate bar from the off license or the corner shop, and it's been like all grey on the surface. It has like grey streaks and it looks like it's old. It's not old. It's actually just because it's been too high in temperature. It's melted a little bit, and then it's not been cooled in the correct way. So if it's been lying in the sun, it's been melted and then cooled in a way where the chocolate molecules haven't been able to set in the right way. So all the cocoa butter has risen to the top of the chocolate, and you get this dull grey layer. So I will just go through quite quickly how to make tempered chocolate correctly, and so you can get that like nice sheen that you get on a chocolate bar, and that really nice that was a bad, I can't do it, but like that snap of chocolate that you know from a chocolate bar when you crack it. So I'm just going to show you with some chocolate that I have here in a bowl, and 3 spatulas. We don't need all 3, just need 1 to start with. So this is chocolate. This is the caramel chocolate. It's a caramelized white chocolate. So it is a white chocolate that's been, the sugar in it has been caramelized, so it turns brown and has like this caramelized texture. No, flavor, not texture. These are called callets, and I will heat it up in a microwave. I'm using microwaves usually for my chocolate tempering, and I will heat this up in the microwave. I'll take out some of it, around a 4th or 5th, oops, and some on the floor, like that. This is our seeding chocolate. It's cool. All this chocolate is tempered already. This is already in temper. So tempered means that the sugar, the cocoa butter, and everything, like all the molecules in the chocolate, is in the strongest possible molecular structure. So you get that sheen and that snap. When you heat it up and when you melt it, all the chocolates will start flowing freely. Not all the chocolates, all the molecules will start flowing freely in the chocolate. And we will need them to set again in this structure. So think of it as a conga line, or like a conga circle, basically. So right now they're all fixed in this conga circle. When we heat it up to 40 to 45 degrees, they'll all loosen and dance freely. And then we will, when we cool it down, or add the seeding. The chocolate, this seeding will teach the dancing chocolate molecules what structure to go into, and they will all go into the structure at different temperatures. So when the last molecule has joined the conga line, we have a chocolate that's in temper, and it will be around 30 degrees warm at that point. So let me just get started with heating this up. I'm gonna give it around a minute in the microwave. This depends on your microwave. All microwaves are different. I need to get it up to 40 to 45 degrees. That's white chocolate, and this caramelized white chocolate that we're using. That's where the molecules will loosen and go into this dancing structure. And so I just need to get that up and get everything melted before I'm adding my seeding chocolate. And it takes around a minute in my microwave, but some microwaves are slow and some microwaves are quicker, obviously. You can also use a bain-marie, so do it over water. But if you do that, you have to be super, super careful that you don't get any water in the chocolate, because as soon as you get any water in the chocolate, you ruin the chocolate and it will turn into this weird, grainy, thick Play-Doh almost, which is not very interesting. So if you just see down here on in the bowl, I've melted the middle, but I haven't really melted anything else. But I'm just going to give it a good stir to distribute the heat through the entire bowl, because the microwave only heats in the middle. So I'm just going to give it a quick stir and put it back in. So I'm just heating it up slowly. The reason why I'm not giving it like 5 minutes in one blast is because then I'll burn the middle of the chocolate. White chocolate consists mainly of sugar, actually, and that will, like, the microwaves will go straight into the middle and burn the middle of the chocolate, and then I'll get more caramelized sugar, basically. But I don't want that for today. Basically, that's a different workshop, actually, to show how to make caramelized white sugar. But so I'm just giving it a little bit of time, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 30 seconds at the time, to not burn the center of the chocolate. It's not the nicest taste in the world, and also you get like a big lump of caramelized white burnt chocolate, and it's not that desirable, you know. So now it's melted more, so you can see here how much is melted, and I'm just going to test the temperature. So I have this laser thermometer that measures the surface. So I'm on 38 degrees, around 38 degrees. I still have a little bit of like some small bits and pieces in there that needs to be melted out. Also, when you're doing this, make sure that you keep your edges clean, because otherwise you'll just have like a thick edge of chocolate that's that's setting on the sides of your bowl, and it's just, then you're not using it to make the decorations, and then you're kind of just washing it out in the end. So 36, 7-ish. Gonna give it another 15 seconds. And then I think we'll be ready to add the seeding. So as I explained before, these little callets here are already tempered, and they are going to show this chocolate, which now should be good and warm. So we're on 44 degrees. Perfect. It's going to show this one where all the molecules are now free flowing, freely dancing. These are going to tell them, okay, this is the molecular structure you need to go into. It's quite often that, also now I didn't actually measure it out, how much seeding I added. Use like a fourth or a fifth of the entire batch, use that as seeding. I used a little bit more, I can see, because I'm going to have some issues. Not issues, but I'm just going to have, it's going to take a while to get these callets melted out in the chocolate. So you have to do this every time you start making any chocolates. So this is also, you're just going to get a quick crash course in chocolatiering. And then let's just see how it goes. I keep putting a thermometer to it, so I'm on 30.3, which means I am at the right temperature for what I need to start working, but I can't obviously start work with all these callets in. So I'm going to give it little bursts. This is a very common thing. I do this all the time. Give it little bursts of 5 seconds in the microwave to get everything melted slowly, but without raising the temperature of the entire thing to more than 35 degrees. Because at 35 degrees, some of the molecules, now all the molecules have actually set in this structure as it is right now, but I want to get rid of these callets. If I put it up above 35 degrees, some of them will loosen, and then I'll have to get like everything back up to 40-45 degrees, seed it again, and get them down. So I don't want to have this mixture above 35 degrees, because then it will be out of temper. So that's why I'm just giving it 5 seconds at the time, maybe 7. But again, that's depending on your microwave. I mean, for my microwave, it takes 5 seconds, something like that, to raise like 200 grams or 250 grams of chocolate, about 1 degree, let's see, 2 actually, so 1.5. And also, if you don't have a laser thermometer, the laser thermometer only measures the surface, so you can see how it changes. If you have like a probe that you stick into the chocolate, it usually takes around 10-15 seconds for it to actually measure the exact temperature. So now I'm starting to get rid of all these little callets. Also, give it a good stir in between your heat. In between those 5-second bursts, because we will need to like use that heat that we've just added to the mixture to melt those little callets, instead of like heating everything up too much, and the callets are much lower heat and So just stir it until the callets aren't melting anymore, and then you can give it another 5 seconds. So I am in a pretty good spot here. It's 30.5. All my callets are out, and I'm now ready to start my terrazzo chocolate. I'm just going to give it 5 seconds to get it a little bit up around 32 degrees. I just want to, so I have a little bit of time to talk and explain while the chocolate cools down. So here we are. Let's see what that. Oh, nothing really happened. That is odd. Again. So sometimes you get like a massive jump on 2 degrees from 5 seconds, also depending on your microwave. And sometimes nothing happens. So now it got really high. See? 33 degrees, which is fine. It said 35 in the beginning, but that's because I just measured the middle and the surface. Oops. So this is where I want it to be, because then I can just explain to you what's happening next. I prepared these chips. So as you can see, we have the terrazzo tile here. They have these little chips in. So these chips are passion fruit flavored. It's white chocolate. So when I said we were doing everything out of one color or one type of chocolate, I was actually lying, because this is white chocolate, but it could have been caramelized chocolate or caramel chocolate that I've just colored, but it is actually white chocolate. that I flavored and colored and cut into small bits. Just going to put those in a separate bowl. Gonna leave that there. And I'm going to have my mold ready. Normally when you're working with molds, just give it a wipe with a micro fiber cloth. So you get like a nice shiny surface. It doesn't really matter when doing terrazzo because we'll be scraping it off the surface to get the terrazzo effect. But just so you know what's going on. So I have my chips here. And we're basically doing it as you would do actual terrazzo. So mixing some chocolate in. Also have some salt. I'm going to be mixing into the chocolate. Not yet, but once I've done this. So I'm just going to pour this into the chips. Like that. Add the salt. So we get salty caramel, right? And then mix everything together. Like this. So quite quickly you have to work now. And then just pour this into the mold. And you probably can't really see the mold because it's see-through, but it's definitely there. So pour it into the mold. And I'm just going to make sure that there's a little chip up in the top of the terrazzo, just because it looks pretty. And then the important bit is to now start tapping it on the surface. The reason why I'm tapping to the surface is, so I've overfilled this mold a little bit, that's fine, is that you can see those little air bubbles coming up. We want those air bubbles because there's air between the chips. And we want those to go, to come to the surface so they're not at the bottom. I'm just going to take a little bit of this chocolate off. Usually measure everything out in on a digital scale, but let's just do this by eye. All right, so I now have, I obviously can't turn it around. You can see it's still fluid. I'm just going to put this to the side, and then we will take it out of the mold. Actually, I'm going to put it in the fridge, and the fridge is 10 meters away from me, so give me a second. I'm just going to put this in the fridge, just one sec. Usually be careful with putting chocolate in the fridge because it can shock the chocolate and ruin this tempering process. But I would like to show you, like, to take it out of the mold and stuff like that. And also it's not something that's going on sale or anything. This is a demonstration piece. But usually be careful and just leave it to set overnight on your kitchen counter. I'm gonna get rid of some of this chocolate. It takes around 24 hours for the chocolate to fully crystallize. And then you can take it out and start working with it and scraping the surface so we get this terrazzo effect. But let's wait with that, because next up is this guy. So that was a terrazzo to start with. Next up we have the marble bauble, and that kind of looks like this. All of them are different. I don't know how it's going to turn out before I've made it. So also it's different on the other side. They're all different, which is the beauty of these ones. So you never know what you're going to pour, basically. I'm just going to show you how to make this marbling effect. Again, be using the chocolate, which is now cooled a little bit. And so you see it's on around 29-30 degrees. So I'm just going to give that another 5 seconds in the microwave. And again, we want it to be a little bit higher than what we need to work like the working temperature. Working temperature is around 30 degrees. But because we need to add a lot of different things to it to get this texture, we're going to add the sea buckthorn, which is this purple, flavorful, acidic berry. Going to add reishi mushroom powder, which is quite bitter on its own, but beautiful in combination. And then we're going to add some activated charcoal, which is the black, you can see here. And all that needs to be added in 3 different batches and poured together. So I just need to get this up in temperature a little bit. So there's quite a lot of like being careful with your texture, like with your temperatures. And the chocolate, it's quite a, how can you say, it's quite a temperamental little thing, this chocolate. And if it gets too high or if it sets too much, you kind of have to start over again. I'm just going to give it another 5. And then we'll be ready to make the marble. So 32. And also the other reason for keeping the edges clean is that, I mean, I'm going to get covered in chocolate in a second, or throughout this. Okay, so I have a few different bowls here. Just going to put this to the side so I can start working. Just going to add most of it to this one. And this is the main base. There is chocolate here for the full bowl. I'm going to add all the all the sea buckthorn, which is a dried powder. Again, none of this has any water moisture in it because it will ruin the chocolate and make it into that like weird Play-Doh-y, grainy Play-Doh. So I'm just mixing this in. So this just both give flavor and it gives this little bit of a grain. So our goal is to make something look like stone or something not chocolatey. So I am just going to add, first I'm going to check the temperature. Again, see how much we went down just by pouring it from one bowl and over in this bowl. Need this back up, 5 seconds. And then, see where we are now, 31-ish. So I'm going to add some of it to this one. I'm going to add the reishi mushroom and give it a little bit of a stir. Nothing too crazy, because then we'll still have some of these streaks in there. It's nice that it's not, you know, completely incorporated. Grainy bits of powder makes it look more stone-like. And then just a little bit of chocolate for some charcoal. And again, give it a little stir. So now we have some different colors that we will mix together again into the base chocolate. Just in one blob, basically, for each of them, for each of the colors. So you don't like cover the entire surface, but try and see if you can keep it just in one little blob. Adding the mushrooms. And take this out for a sec. And then, to top it all off, I'm just gonna sprinkle some charcoal and give it a stir a couple of times, just so you get some, you see, some really nice lines in there. Take another mold out. So you have to be quite quick when you're doing this because it's starting to set quickly. And now I'm not sure if you can see what I'm actually doing. Let's see if I can. So you just pour it out into the mold. Try and see if you can like zigzag it a little bit. That gives a nice effect. If you can like make the chocolate stripy, or like the stripes of the chocolate, if you can just make it fall into the mold in nice little cascades, little waves. A few taps like this. So this is nice. So this is, you see here, there's very much black here. I think all the black is on the back side. So we will see that when we take it out of the mold. But again, I'm tapping it to the surface because you can see the little bubbles coming out. So just tap, tap, tap. You can also leave the bubbles in and use them as like part of the decoration, because again that can look like natural stone if you have little bubbles in there. And then I'm just going to put this in the fridge. All right, so while we're waiting for the two chocolates, I think I have time to actually show you the last bit. Actually, let me just show you how to get the terrazzo texture out. So what I have here is another terrazzo tile. This tile is heated, so I've heated it up. I've got charcoal everywhere. So I've heated this terrazzo tile up, and this is what I will then scrape my terrazzo tile on. So I have cheated a little bit and made another one, prepared another one that's taken out of the mold. So you can see here how it works. Sat there, here it was, sat there. Take the mold off, and you have the beautiful bubble sitting here. All this we will be melting off. Let me just get a spatula. We'll be using a spatula, and I need a bowl. What I'll be doing is I'm going to put this, so I'm just going to measure the temperature of this tile. Where are we? So we want it around 40-45 degrees because I don't want it to burn the actual chocolate. So I don't want it to be more hotter than the chocolate can handle. So keep it around 40-45 degrees. I'm just heating it up on a hob. So let's get some of this. So this is where the magic happens. Because before we just had, and you can see it here, you just have a brownish, and you can kind of see that there's something going on in there. But let's see if we can get some of this terrazzo out. So here we are. This is the back side, mind you. I'm just going to scrape it with the spatula. So here you go. It's a very good idea to be using a pair of gloves, like plastic gloves here, so you don't put like your finger marks on everything. So this is the back side, but we still have a really nice effect. Just going to get rid of the excess chocolate on the surface here. And then do the front so as it looks now, and then just give it a few seconds here. A little bit more. Sometimes the back side turns out better than the front, but let's see what happens. Oh, this is nice. So the terrazzo comes out really nicely. So get all these beautiful little colored bits. So just make sure that all the melted chocolate has been scraped off. So you have a nice dry surface, and then just go along the edges. Like that. And you're done. Then we just need to drill a little hole. Let me clean that up and get rid of this one. So what we have left here is this scrape off. And when that sets and you take it off the bowl, you get these little, you know, untempered chocolate nuggets. Or it actually comes in slightly larger pieces like that. I just cut them up. If you blitz those in a NutriBullet, for example, you get this. So this resembles, like, it looks a little bit like sand. So I'm just going to show you the last texture. This is a little bonus texture. So look at my chocolate. It has almost completely set now. You see how it's set on the edges. So let me just give that some time in the microwave. And then we'll do the last bonus texture for you guys, which is more of a sandy, concretey, sandstone texture. So here is my chocolate. I have some little bits in. It's kind of all right. And then here's my mold. Just going to put some of this sand into the mold. You see how it looks like stone or little gravel bits. So just cover this, the bottom of the mold. Pour your chocolate in. Actually just going to keep that 5 seconds again. That was not quite enough. So there's just a constant 5-second limbo when you're doing stuff like this. You'll get used to it. But let me see if I can show you close how this looks. And then pour the chocolate in, but don't pour everything in the middle. Pour it in little lines going up and down in a thin line, because if you pour everything in the middle, all the gravel will like move away. So just do some, like a little bit at the time. So you see, kind of making these ribbons going across it. All right, so I have overfilled all my molds. I usually just weigh everything out. So this one, I'm just tapping it to get all the chocolate to spread out, but I'm not tapping it too much. Because if I tap it too much, the melted chocolate will actually go through the gravel, and we want to have this gravel effect. So not more than that. So I still have some unfilled places here, but that's totally fine. Putting this in the fridge. And then I'm just going to show you what that actually comes out as while we're waiting for it in the fridge. So you will get this texture here. So as you can see, it looks very much like a, like sandstone, or like a kind of porous surface which is quite fun. I'm just going to show you in another color because, so this is more of a concrete porous texture. This is a really fun texture, I think. So that's actually the that's the workshop. The last thing I can show you, actually, sorry, using this guy, because we need to drill some holes. As you see, there's no holes in this one yet, but we will put a hole in this. Just let me use a little what's this called, little glass jar, and then I'm just putting the drill, which I've obviously washed, and it's a drill that I use for chocolate. I'm just slowly drilling through it, so very, very DIY, like that. And then you can put the string in it, which I can't because I can't actually find my string. But you just put your string in, basically. That's pretty easy. Just tie a knot in it. I like some quite down to earth. It's just a white string, nothing too Christmassy. But that's what we've got. Let me just see if I can get the stuff out of the fridge and how it looks, because I want to see what the marble one looks like. So here's the terrazzo one, but as I just showed you how it was made, there's no reason to do that. Here's the marble one, which looks like that on the back side. Look how beautiful that is. So if I take it out now, it won't have set completely in the mold. I usually leave it overnight because then it lets go of the mold and you get a super shiny surface. But let's just take it out anyways, because you see how it's still stuck to the mold, because I literally just put it in, right? And it's probably still sticking a little bit to the mold. When I take it out, this is not ideal, but I'll do it for you guys. So here we go. You can see how it's not super shiny, but it's still beautiful. And the little charcoal pieces here, that has that's the charcoal that I put in at the end. I just sprinkle the charcoal over, so sometimes it gets these it makes these little holes. See how it comes out of my hand, and it makes these holes. I don't know if you can tell. So the way also to get rid of these edges here, so you see the overflow, we would like to get rid of those. Take a knife and just gently scrape the edges, so you get rid of that overflow. Be careful that you don't cut yourself, and be careful that you don't cut the edges too much. So sorry for going completely quiet here. This takes all my focus. I don't want to cut myself, in the middle of all this. That would be a bad way to end it. So here we go. So 3 beautiful textures. That's actually this one, isn't it? Here we go. In less than an hour. And then obviously there's all the cleaning, but that will be for you to enjoy. So, yeah, these are the chocolates that I'm doing. So I'll be doing a lot more different chocolate textures on my Domestika course. So let me just show you a little bit what I'm going to be teaching on the course. So this is a little preview of what I'll be doing. Next year, I'll be doing a full-blown course where you can learn how to do, for example, the pleated chocolates. Look at that, and this like Carrera marble look. I will be teaching you how to do concrete chocolates and like surfaces like this. Oh, there we are. Out of like simple household materials that you have at home. Everything is very, like, you can make most of this from home. As you can see, you can make most of this from home. Just get some good quality, like I'm using white chocolate mainly because you can easily color it, you can easily flavor it. And then I'm going to be showing you also how to make your own molds and how to make casts of surfaces. So I also have this one, which is actually a cast of a concrete surface from the Barbican, which is a brutalist building here in the UK. So I went there and made the actual cast, and I made it into a little mold, and I cast the chocolate. So there will also be a tutorial on how to do that. So I really, really hope that you will join me on my Domestika course once we've finished it up. Because I can't wait to show you more textures. There's going to be many more textures and tips and tricks about chocolate, and just to get you all started. I'm also going to be showing you how to work with untempered chocolate and the beauty of untempered chocolate, because even though I've told you about tempering chocolate now, untempered chocolate is beautiful. It looks very much like natural stone, and if you can start controlling the process, you can make some amazing different textures with that. So there's going to be a little bit of that. But now I'm going to be opening up for some questions. If any of you guys have any questions for me, so we can, talk about that. So my favorite type of chocolate to work with, dark or milk, is actually white, because as I said before, we have all these. It's very hard to color a dark chocolate. You can basically only color it black because it's already so dark. And the same with milk. You can't get like a bright blue or bright green or something like that. You can only get whatever the color is or darker when you're working with darker milk. The beauty with white chocolate is also that you can, it's a really nice vehicle for flavors, and you can match it with some amazing flavors that you can't necessarily work with darker milk, because it has such a darker milk, or especially dark chocolate, has such a dominant flavor often. So my favorite is white to work with. To eat is a little bit of a different matter. I love dark chocolate. We are working with 100% dark, actually. Let me just show you. Because I've made this 100% dark that looks like charred wood. So I made a mold from some charred wood from Japan and made it into chocolate. So this is 100% dark chocolate. There's no sugar, no nothing. We flavored it with a little bit of cardamom and some orange, and then we made it pitch black with charcoal. So that's kind of how I'm coloring dark chocolate. So what should you never add to our chocolate mix? Water. Anything water based, don't do it. But other than, actually, try and do it and see what comes out of it. Maybe something really interesting comes out of it. I'm a huge fan of failure, and the way I started this whole chocolate business was through failure. So I did a lot of, like, it was before I knew how to temper chocolate, and I just started working with the material as for fun, and I didn't temper it correctly. So I got this huge, like 2 kilos of grey chocolate that was all streaky and weird, and I couldn't use it for what I was actually intending to use it for. But because it was untempered, it looked like this stony sediment kind of set chocolate. And I thought maybe I can cut it up and make it into gravel or bits, and see maybe I can make terrazzo out of it. So I cut it up and mixed it with some other chocolate, as I just did here, and made my first terrazzo tile, and it was amazing, you know, and the untempered chocolate really worked for that. So I'm a huge fan of failure, because you can always see something else coming from it, or not always, but you can often something comes from failure that you wouldn't have gotten out of a perfect, like I would have just made that cake, you know. I probably never really have started making chocolate. I have no idea what went wrong. I probably just heated it wrongly. So maybe something really interesting will come out of adding milk or water or something else water based. I said milk because there's water in milk, so that will also kind of ruin it, unless you're making a ganache where you're adding flavor, where you're adding cream. But don't like, in general, if you're trying to get a good chocolate, don't mess with water. Keep your water as far away from your chocolate as possible. So that's yeah. So the little chips are colored with food coloring. It's colored with powders that are made from other fruits and vegetables. So it's made from dried lemon peels, and made from blue spirulina, green spirulina, dried beetroot, dried all sorts of dried vegetable and fruits, and like edible, you know, probably mushrooms and stuff like that as well. So, but if you use normal food coloring from the supermarket, make sure that it's oil-based. Again, water will ruin the chocolate, so make sure that it's oil-based, or that it's a powder. And that's the same with flavors. You can use like all oil-based flavors. Sesame oil, essential oils are great. And you can also like use Blitz teas. I'm a huge fan of Blitz teas, like Earl Grey, chai, anything like black sesame is beautiful. Poppy seeds that you grind up, anything really. Just you know, I've been using mushrooms and sea buckthorn today, right, and charcoal. So anything is really possible for except if it's water based. So keep water out. It should be clear now. Don't mess with water in your chocolates. Yes, you can use cocoa powder. That will be exactly the same as I did with the charcoal and the reishi mushroom powder. You can color it with your cocoa powder and incorporate it into your melted chocolate. You will, like, I always put all my flavors and colors into the chocolate when it is at the right temperature, around 30 degrees, because some colors, especially essential oils, if I'm using, that's what I'm using for flavoring most of my chocolates, that will change. The flavors will change when you heat them up. So always just add everything when you have it in temper. Then you can also taste like what it tastes like, and how you like, you can add to taste basically. So just add it while it's in temper and melt it still, and then use it like that. So exactly like I did with the charcoal. Can you scrape top to make it smooth if the mold overflows? Yes, you can. You most definitely can. So heat up a slab of stone or a porcelain. You know, you can also use a plate if you have a flat plate, or you can use a tray. But be careful with trays, because they heat up very quickly. They get very, very warm. As I said, I am heating up on a hob. But you just gently heat it up. Put like equal pressure onto your item, and then gently heat it up, not more than 40 to 45 degrees, and then scrape it off. And you can do that, and that will, like, you might get an amazing like second layer of something amazing will probably reveal itself once you do that. So all for that, basically. Also, you can polish it. I'm just going to show you that, by the way, with the polishing cloth, with the microfiber cloth that we did the molds with. You can polish the actual chocolates gently with this, but let it set overnight first so it's fully crystallized. Otherwise, you'll just smear the chocolate out, basically. You can use food-safe silicone molds. Yes, they are perfect for it. I tend to, or like not tend to, I use only polycarbonate, like hard molds, and then I make my own molds for smaller jobs. But you can use silicone molds. They are a little bit more, how can you say? They move around a little bit more. So maybe if you fill a square mold up with chocolate, you'll get a little bit of like rounding because they're not solid. So you have a little bit of distortion on your actual shape, but you can totally use them. They're totally fine. And sometimes it gets harder to get this super shiny surface that you'll get with a polycarbonate mold, but you can use them. So you can also paint on the chocolate with a brush. So just see if I can find a brush. And so this is a bit improvised, but brushes, just using, this is just a normal food brush. This is just a normal paint brush. Just, and then you paint with cocoa butter. So you heat up some cocoa butter, just pure cocoa butter. That turns clear. It's like kind of this white, yellowy thing. And then it turns clear when you heat it up, and you can mix your color in. So this is weird. Here's some green cocoa butter that I've mixed with spirulina. So this is green spirulina and cocoa butter. When you heat that up in the microwave, I heat it up in the microwave again. You can paint with that in your molds. So you just paint, and I'm just going to show you what's been painted with exactly those ones. It's another thing that we're working on. So these domes, you can see here, these are hand painted. Right, so these are chocolate domes that are hand painted with green cocoa butter, and then I've made these lines in it as well. These are filled with an Italian meringue on a marzipan base, and then in a chocolate encasing. So these guys are quite labor intensive. This effect, again, I will also show you on the Domestika course that will be coming out next year. So if you're interested in this, I think you should tune in for that, that's for sure. All right, so I'm just going to show a super messy table. Brilliant. So I hope you really enjoyed this. I really did. And I really hope that you are keen on starting a little chocolate adventure and getting your hands into this, and that you just start, just try something out, and also just cast on different things. I'm casting on tiles, I'm like the actual chocolate, I'm casting on different surfaces, and you can get some amazing results out of just playing around with it. So I highly encourage you to get some chocolate in timber and start casting on things, and just start playing around with this really fun material, and don't take it too seriously, actually, because chocolate is always quite a, pristine. Everyone is just, it's just relax, just have fun with it. It's just a material, it's just another material, and this one just happens to taste amazing. So I really, really hope that you enjoyed this and that I'll see you at my Domestika course next year. That will be amazing. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in.
Esto es lo que yo les voy a enseñar hoy día.
I'll be showing you guys how to finish this mask